the European Union is no longer a peace project. It's a European war union. You can see that the only thing they're talking about is common procurement, common armies, and all that. And that is, given that the European Union is completely dependent on the United States, that reflects the war footing of the United States. But I'll go back to the conclusion to my previous answer. Why is it that suddenly Chinese development is a threat to American hegemony, and therefore this is leading even to a nuclear war over Taiwan, primarily? The reason is the development of what I call cloud finance in China, because there is only one reason why the United States remains hegemonic: the monopoly over the international payment system, the dollar system. Now, if they're about to lose that, they are going to lose the capacity to project power in the four corners of the earth. And they will start a nuclear war to prevent losing that monopoly. And therefore, I very much fear that these developments in China, which the Chinese have every reason to carry on and carry out, why should they submit themselves to the monopoly of the dollar payment system? Why should the Emiratis or the South Africans or the Congolese submit to the predominance of the dollar payment system, where the United States government can confiscate billions and billions at will of whoever it doesn't like? But the United States will nuke itself if it needs to do it in order to preserve its dollar monopoly. So yes, I very much fear that Taiwan, which has nothing to do with Taiwan, is going to become a very possible and a very likely point of conflict that may ignite such a war. So we need to take out our banners, our anti-war banners, and take to the streets all over the world to prevent it.
As a European, as the head of a European movement of importance, where is Europe in all of this? Is Europe simply no longer a major player in this whole scenario as it evolves? Is there a chance for this to change? If your answer is yes, how does Europe fit into the picture you've just painted?
It is a stupid continent. We here in Europe, under the auspices of our troika, our very shady form of pan-European government, with which I had some dealings when I was in the ministry, in the finance ministry here in Greece. They've effectively committed suicide. Europe is irrelevant, Rick. Absolutely irrelevant. And allow me to give you just two examples, because we don't have much time. I could be talking about this forever, with a lot of pain in my heart as a European. First example. If I'm right in my hypothesis, which you mentioned, the book in which I have outlined it, Technofeudalism, if I'm right that there's a new form of capital called cloud capital, which is a produced means of behavioral modification, not a produced means of production, that is becoming the main instrument by which surplus value is accumulated, it is effectively siphoned off from the industrial sector. If I'm right, and therefore the powerful today are those who own large quantities of cloud capital. Who owns cloud capital? Americans and Chinese. Zero cloud capital in Europe. Zero. This is why Volkswagen is finished. It's kaput. Because Tesla is connected to the cloud. BYD is connected to the cloud. Volkswagen is not. And therefore, it's going to simply fade away. It will be like British Leyland in Britain. Something that some oldies like us, you and me, remember. That's one example. Second example, imagine, and I wish it happened, but at the moment it stays at the plane of the imagination. Imagine that there was tomorrow at the United Nations or somewhere else a peace process on Ukraine. We know who would represent Russia, Putin, Ukraine, Zelensky, the United States, Biden, if he's still capable of engaging with anything, or Kamala or Trump or whoever, China, Xi, India, Modi. Who's going to represent Europe? Once upon a time, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we would have said Angela Merkel, who was a very powerful German chancellor. Today, the German chancellor is not even in control of the German government. The French president is a lame duck, and he has completely lost it in every sense of the way. The people who are actually running the show in the European Union when it comes to foreign policy are the Estonians, the Lithuanians, the Polish, who actually want a war with Russia tomorrow. They are warmongering idiots who are, if they had a button to press it and destroy Europe, they would tomorrow morning. So there's no such thing as Europe. Europe has become a figment of our imagination, which is extremely dangerous because we remain the most wealthy continent in the world, a very cultured continent, a continent with 500 million people, and yet we are irrelevant. And that is a clear and present cause of instability worldwide.